and you are a crusader. Bihira yan sa tao, a crusader. Not for the money, but for the cause that you believe in. It's really your values that I like. Mabuhay ka, Greco.
You can now listen to RJFM and DZRJ 8:10 a.m. from wherever you are. Just type in RJ 100.3 FM on TuneIn Radio, Streema, Radio Garden, and just type in RJFM for online box radio. For DZRJ 8:10 a.m., just type in DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on TuneIn Radio, Streema, and Radio Garden. Happy listening!
Pasko, Pasko na naman, Pasko na naman sa ating bayan.
Ito po si Attorney Nikki De Vega
At ako naman po si Attorney Carlo Nicolas para sa programang
Ang Buhay at Batas. Bumabati sa inyo ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Ako po si Banat Bay ng Trending News dito sa DZRJ. Bumabati sa inyo ng Blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. Tuloy-tuloy lang ang banat.
Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza of Good Job Philippines, wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ito po ang inyong lingkod, Tita Carmen Ignacio ng Palatuntunang Pulso ng Sambayanan na bumabati po sa lahat ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Hello, DZRJ fans! My name is Ira Panganiban of Free Spits. I'm wishing you guys a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a great time.
May peace and love for one another reign in our hearts in this season and beyond. Have a Merry Christmas and a brighter and prosperous New Year. Jimmy mo na to po, tsa-tsahin mo, baby.
Hi, this is Johnny Gomez of Johnny Gomez Live, wishing us all a very meaningful Christmas and the best of 2022. Happy Holidays, Kabandido!
Hi, this is G and Marge Santos of Mystical Buffet.
Season's greetings to everyone. Here are warm wishes for a safe, healthy, and COVID-free 2022.
Merry Christmas!
Hi mga kapuga, dito po ang inyong mga lingkod. Ako po si Mark Lopez.
Si Doc Ethel,
Maricar Serrano,
Darwin Cañete.
Tom Berenguer.
Manny Biernes.
kami po ay bumabati sa inyo ng isang maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Teleradio Bandido TV.
Pasko, Pasko na naman.
To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners, you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup. Welcome the newest addition to our lineup of explosive anchors, a veteran broadcaster, a sports news anchor, race car driver, columnist, and reporter, Ira Panganiban and his program Free Spits. Free Spits, a parody of free speech, a right we always abuse. Free Spits, freewheeling discussions, no holds barred. Free Spits, the real sentiments of the Filipino people. Free Spits and Ira Panganiban, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on Teleradio Bandido TV Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, GMA Afforda box, and all DTT boxes. Also heard on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Also seen on Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News. Bangon na! Tanghali na! RJ na! Litrato Philippines, hosted by Mike Francisco and Michelle Encarnacion, showcases a variety of wonderful, uplifting beauty queens from all over the world, Philippine tourism, culture, and lifestyle, and issues being faced in our country. Catch them Monday to Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Teleradio Bandido Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, digital free-to-air Channel 29, Facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News. Education Radio, hosted by Pia Morato, is on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Teleradio Bandido Channel 224 Sky Cable, TV Plus boxes, digital free-to-air Channel 29, Facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and YouTube channel RJAM News. This brings service to all educators and learners of every age. The program guests include secretaries, dignitaries, ambassadors, lawmakers, professors, volunteers, and heroes, all dedicated to contribute to this valuable advocacy. We take the streets to the classroom and the classroom to the streets.
Be enlightened with inspiring stories. Interesting biblical features. And insightful interviews with the pillars of our Catholic faith. Power to Unite with Elvira.
And it is 2022.
Yes.
Lalie Tolentino. Lalie Tolentino, how was your New Year's Day? Because I know that New Year's last year was a problem. How was your New Year's this year?
All right, New Year's Eve. Okay, let's start with 31, which is the countdown. So I had fun, with some friends, and we were at penthouse of one of this luxury condominium in Wakwak. Very cold. In fact, the following day I really got colds, and I was coughing. I feel like I was in San Francisco right that night. my imagination.
So it was cold up at the Whack Whack golf course for Lalie Tolentino.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I watched out my window and was just stayed inside and didn't go outside. I watched the fireworks outside my window because I was very tired from walking around looking for solar lights, because we're doing a solar project down in Cebu with the Rotary Club of Makati Business District and Kiani to try and light up the streets down there because they still don't have any power.
Oh, so you mean to say you still have a dark nights over in Cebu?
Cebu, yeah, because I was down in Cebu for a week last week, and boy, it's something to live without water and electricity, and they don't have it.
Up to now?
No, there's no.
Oh.
I mean, there are some places now that have electricity, but a lot of places still don't have it, and they don't know when they're going to get it. So yeah, it's tough down there to spend your Christmas in the dark, and then New Year's in the dark, and then there's all kinds of laws, very, very strict laws about fireworks down there because there's gasoline.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because people using generators and stuff,
Yeah, I mean, it's really dangerous, and it's not the right time to do that. I mean, lighting firecrackers and all that in that kind of situation. So
I mean,
we're just lucky here in the zone.
We got enough problems without COVID and giant typhoons, and we don't need a fire going on. So yeah. Anyway, my heart goes out there to all the people in Cebu, because what's interesting is, in the past I've been to a lot of disasters and I reported on them and I've worked at them, but I've never lived in one. And boy, you don't really realize what it's like until you actually kind of live in the middle of it, and you see how people are dealing with the situation.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, without lights, water.
Yeah. I mean,
Good thing you have you
living
still
like
have
a
your house.
caveman, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you still have your house, right?
Yeah.
Did it get damaged?
My house is built like a tank, but my front windows are not. So my front windows blew off. But my house is very, very big and sturdy, and like I said, it's made of solid cement and steel. But a lot of the houses, even in my neighborhood, are not, and a lot of people took it really bad. A lot of people's houses really. In fact, I was telling people before, in my backyard there is somebody's roof. If you're missing a roof and you're in Talisay, check my backyard because we don't know whose roof it is, but it's laying back there in my backyard. So anyway.
Wow, that's that is very sad for people, especially it happened before Christmas.
I mean, it happened right before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are still partying here in Luzon, especially in Metro Manila, and while a lot of people are suffering in that area, my heart really goes for them because I can feel them every time I watch television and what they say, and I can sympathize with all these people. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor because all of you are in the same situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're rich or poor, you still don't, I mean, you may have a generator, but even so, you're still, whether you're rich or poor, you're in line for gas and you're in line for water. So it's a tough situation. But I'm sure, I have a feeling probably somebody's going to ask us about this on our questions of the week coming from our viewers right here on the World News Jam on DZRJ. So while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and dive into this week's questions and see what our incredibly intelligent viewers have asked us this week.
All right, Eric, let me give you the very first question because this is very much related to what we're talking about. This is from Joy of Marikina. Yeah, name is Joy, but then the question is, update on damages in Cebu and what are people doing and government to help?
My windows got blown out. That's most important. No, I mean, let's just keep going. I mean, 112 people died in Cebu and maybe 375 overall. I mean, this thing was much worse than people think because it didn't hit Manila at all.
No.
So it barely rained in Manila, but and this was not Yolanda. People keep trying to compare. Yolanda was a flood typhoon. I mean, the surges came up and a lot of people drowned and it was horrible, but this was a wind typhoon. This is where it didn't really rain as much. There wasn't as much flooding, but the wind was crazy, like 200 kilometers per hour. And a lot of these Filipino-made houses, they can't deal with wind that fast. So, mostly people lost roofs, but trees. So many trees went down. Like I said, in my yard, we have trees that are, 3 feet around and they broke off right in the middle. And you walk down the street, especially now in Cebu City, it's bad. But in Talisay and Carcar and Deleguete, I mean, it's really bad. Like you walk there and telephone poles are just everywhere. Transformers are just laying by the side of the street. So, I mean, they were talking about, like, when are we going to get the power on? Man, if they turn the power on, everybody's going to die because everybody's going to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
Because I walked up and down. We went all the way around. We went around to Minganilia. We went to Carcar. Went to a lot of places. And there are just like spaghetti bowls full of electrical cables just laying next to the street.
Wow.
Just laying all over the place. So how long is it going to take them to put all this back together? I can't even imagine. I can't imagine, how and when they're going to do it all. I mean, right now they're trying to get Cebu City back up. And I think once they do that, then they're going to dive into the provinces. But they're talking, they keep, well, maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe 3. Then you hear people say maybe it's 2 months. And then somebody like maybe it's June. When they can get to all of these places, because especially up in the mountains, the poles are not even there. The poles they didn't just blow down, they blew away. So, and a lot of the poles that they had up were cement, and they cracked and they broke, and so they're going to have to rebuild a lot of this stuff. So, that's my update. I was down there, kind of living in it. I came back just before New Year's there, but. Yeah, it's going to take, they're going to really have to plan to basically rebuild a city.
Yeah, I think, it will take some time before they can even fix the whole place because, especially electricity, it's not, because with one mistake, you can electrocute people. So that's why I'm sure they're trying to be careful in doing this.
Yeah, they can't turn it on. I mean, I just keep going on and on about my house. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of electrical cables in my front yard.
Wow. You
So
got to be careful, Eric.
They just laying there. in the
What
front yard.
if, by one mistake you step on it and, somebody just, oh my God, I hope not, and that is, just have to be careful, guys. Anyway, let's move forward because I know there's a lot of questions that we have. Okay, this is from Miguel from Pasig. Well, how can you compare Typhoon Odette to massive tragedy, the heavy floods in Brazil?
Okay, yeah. Okay, Brazil just had this is going on all over the world now. So anyway, Brazil had something really bad. It's different, though. It's very different in Brazil because they had a whole lot of rain, and the rain, it stops up to a point, and then eventually the ground loosens, and then the water just rushes down the mountain in one felt swoop. And that's why so many people got in trouble in Brazil, because you see a little stream of water coming out at your door, and you go and you open the door, and then all of a sudden, like, an entire river comes in, and you don't have time. You see all these interviews with these people in Brazil. They had no time to pick up anything. Like, all the water was coming in. And this is how people, unfortunately, this is how people die, is because these flash floods, the water comes into your house very fast, and what do? They run upstairs, which is sometimes the worst thing you can do, because you run upstairs and then you go into the attic. When you get into the attic, the water comes up and there's no place to go.
Yeah,
you can't get out of the house. And then that's how people drown. They find them a lot of times in the tops of their houses, not in the bottom. Because they run to the attic, and then the water rises so fast that there's nothing you can do. And this is what happened in Brazil. And they had quite a few people lost their lives down there.
Wow.
And they were just saying that, and they're saying right now in that particular community in Brazil, this is the worst flood they have ever had in history. Because the dams broke, two of the dams broke on both sides, and the water just went in so fast that people couldn't get away.
Wow, that is very scary. And, although there's so many, typhoon happen in the Philippines, but of course nobody's ready for this. When you get hit by the really, really strong one, because we did not expect that this Odette will be that bad. But
that is the key. They did not think that this typhoon was going to be as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Nobody did. And I was like, call it up, because I was here in Manila, and I said, call it. So I take the plants off the front porch because the wind might blow them down. Yeah, the wind blew down. All the plants are gone. I don't even know where the plants are. All the trees are gone. So a lot of people weren't prepared for 200 kilometer per hour winds that just happened. And I think that was part of the thing, because everybody's waiting for, somebody said, was super typhoon. We didn't hear it was a super typhoon. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting calls like, the wind is really, really bad. Like, we're scared. It's making, the whole house is shaking.
And I remember that night, because a lot of people are partying that night, because you're one of those guys.
Yes, one of those people.
That night, and this is happening in Visayas and Mindanao area. So, sometimes if I look back and I said, oh my God, look at this. I feel so bad for those people, actually. But we cannot do anything. And, the only thing I can, I gave to these people are, prayers for them to, just to accept what it is.
Yeah, there's so many ways to donate to Cebu, and God knows they need it. And I tell you, I've been down there. It's really bad. It's not what you think. It's really, anything that you want to donate, there's so many different organizations, especially the Red Cross, who are going down there and they're trying to help out. But, it's weird things that they need. They need chainsaws because the trees all fell down. This was not a flood situation. This was a wind. And so all these trees, like, everywhere. You just look at them and they're just trees all over the place. And that's one of the big things. You're talking about water. And they don't need giant donations of water. They need electricity. They need generators to pump the water out of the ground, because you can donate water, but this is going to go on for a month.
Yeah.
A month. If you want to give, I was going to say there's lots of organizations, like I was talking about the Rotary Club before, but the Red Cross and a lot of people down there helping out.
Yeah, there's a lot of organization where, even in my other company, we, sent some money for them to be able to buy something that they need, because we really don't know, because we have not, I personally never been to Cebu, so I have no idea. So all you have to do is whatever you can. If you can send cash to them, there's a lot of way to send it now, I think. Then do it. I mean, this is one humanitarian thing that we can do to help.
Yeah, that was another problem at the beginning. Like when I was down there, money.
Yeah.
Nobody had any money because the ATMs were all down.
Yeah, exactly.
And GCash didn't work. And so there was no way to have cash. And I have to say, SM Mall, SMC side, which is this giant, enormous mall that's near me down there, just got smashed. I mean, all the windows are broken and everything. But they opened up the mall and let people charge their phones there.
That's nice, yeah. They can
Pretty
do something,
nice.
because I'm sure they have a big generator, so yeah, the big...
Smart's got some cash.
Okay.
So I'm sure they got a generator. Anyway.
Okay, let's go to Emmy of Makati. In Bangkok, Thailand, authorities seize crystal methamphetamine, or in the Philippines, shabu, worth $30 million, stuffed inside a boxing punch bag bound to Australia. Seems drugs are the most lucrative business all over the world. How can we stop this? Can the government do something? I mean, I think this is like asking for all.
I'm not sure what to say there. Yeah, it's true. I mean, there were drugs found in Thailand. I don't know what this had to do with the Philippines, but in the Philippines it's called shabu. But yeah, in Thailand they found methamphetamine in punching bags. And the way they found it was they saw all these punching bags coming through and they were like, why does Australia need this many punching bags? Maybe we should check these out. And they opened them up and drugs just spewed out of these punching bags. But I mean, if you look at businesses in the world, they say that of the top 3 businesses in the world, drugs is in the top 3.
Yeah.
You can make so much money in drugs. It's enormous because the markup is so high, 200, 300%. So yeah, I mean, it's all tax free.
Yeah,
you don't need a business permit to sell drugs. So the only problem is it's illegal.
It is illegal.
It's highly illegal. So they have been trying to stop. I mean, we all know because the president here has made it his life's work to stop the drugs coming in the country, and the United States spent trillions of dollars to stop the drugs to come in. And you know who's been able to stop the drugs so far?
Who?
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. I mean, I think this will continue. Even here, I mean, from the time of Duterte, how many times they discovered this, it's like a factory of the shabu. Yeah. But then, it didn't stop there. I mean, I know there's still more somewhere because they're being protected by...
because every time they have a huge drug bust in the Philippines, you think, oh, God, wow, they got so much. And then just wait. Next month, there's another huge drug bust. They're always, uncovering something new, some new thing. It's like, how do they get the drugs in, so much of it into the country?
That's true. But then there is a factory already somewhere.
Yeah,
So
they got it. I mean, if there's a want, if people want a product, they will find a way to get it into the country. Or make it in the country. I mean, that's it's supply and demand. So drugs will always be in demand, and as long as they are in demand, as long as people want to take them, it's going to continue to be a big business.
Yeah.
And the only way, I believe, because they asked me, can the government do something? How can we stop this? And I think the only way that you're ever going to stop this, I think, going in and busting all the low-end guys is good, but it doesn't really stop anything. I mean, the way I think to stop drugs is to stop it in the schools. Teach kids from a young age, we try our best to stop them from taking drugs, but I mean, the only way to do it is to stop the demand.
Well, the next question there is how?
It's like I said, it's a change of culture. It's trying to get to people and get them to not start drugs. I mean, this is a speech that everybody gives. I mean, I know I'm just reiterating, regurgitating what everybody says. You know, we need to get into the schools and we need to teach the kids not to. Yes, I know. That's what I'm trying to say. But it is true.
Yeah,
it's true. The only way we're going to do it is to take away the demand.
Yeah.
You know, we make electric cars. So we take away the demand for gasoline. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I wish they could make a drug that we could take that makes you feel like you're taking shabu, but it's not shabu. You know, something that's, you know, like a piece of candy that you can take. It doesn't hurt you, but, you know, you get the feeling, but it's just a piece of candy. But that's not, you know, that's never going to happen. So I don't know what the answer is because there's a lot of people working on it. And so far, nobody has a solution for it yet.
Yeah. Well, as long as, you know, there are big time, you know, drug, I don't know, what do you call the, because I know there's
kingpins. Get rid of the kingpins. That's it. They seem to arrest all these low-level guys, but they never get to the kingpins.
Yeah, because, you know, they're all protected. Because you don't know, they live in a flashy villages.
Because they have so much money.
Exactly. They're untouchable.
They're, you know. So anyway, next time you're buying a punching bag, just make sure, like, look inside of it first. And make sure it's not full of drugs.
And not only that, just to add to that, because they always find a way to sell it by using a tea bag. They discovered many times
there's
tea
all
bag.
kinds of,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to, you know, to sell this one. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know how. Parents, watch your kids.
I mean, if people are putting what do they call them, these plastic things in their digestive system and getting on planes, they'll figure out a way to get them
Yeah,
through.
I know. They know a lot of, I don't know. Anyway.
Don't do that.
Let's go to Jay of Mandaluyong. What do you know about Japan and China agree to set up defense hotline and amid territorial tension? Are they friends?
Japan and China? Are you joking, Lalie Tolentino? They are not friends, and they probably will never be friends. But last Monday, Japan and China decided to set up a hotline, which is something like what the U.S. did with Russia, like a long time ago, back in the days of Gorbachev and Reagan. They set up this hotline. So if somebody shoots a nuclear weapon, like the other guy can pick up the phone and go, hey, did you mean to do that? Did you mean, you know, is that supposed to be happening right now? Because if it is, then we'll shoot you back. But if not, then okay. So they set this up because right now there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think this was a good idea to set up a little phone, like a little hotline. I wonder what it looks like. What if it's like a red phone or, a, you know, the hotline? Anyway, they set up a phone between the two countries because, you know, Taiwan is becoming a really, really hot item. The Chinese keep getting closer and closer, and it just looks like something is about to happen. And Japan said if something happens in Taiwan, that they are going to intervene. And also those islands off the coast of Japan. And China keeps kind of moving in, like inching closer to those islands. And Japan is like, don't you get close to those things because we don't want to end up like the Philippines, where the Chinese just kept getting closer and closer until they're like, okay, these are ours because we're so close now. We've already set up a thing. So Japan's like, that's not going to happen here. So we're going to set up a line. So if you guys get too close, we're going to pick up the phone and go, by the way, if you don't move your ships, somebody's going to get shot. So I think that is a good idea, especially in the event of an accident or maybe a plane flies a little too close. As opposed to shooting that plane down, let's pick up the phone and warn them first. And then maybe we will avoid loss of life.
Okay, that's good, you know, good plans. I hope it works.
I do, but I mean, I just can't imagine what the phone looks like.
I know.
It's like a bat phone. You pick it up and hit one button. It says China. Speed dial.
Oh, of course, they have something there very
sure it is.
special. Anyway, let's go now to Martin of Angela City. Why Europe's fight against the pandemic is about to get much more dangerous.
Well, I think I know what she's talking about. Despite giving speeches and media campaigns and public discussions, people cannot be convinced that by taking the vaccine, you are lessening your chances of dying. So, Austria is going to try something different. And this is a word we have talked about on the show before. You know what that word is, Lalie Tolentino? That word is mandate. They are going to start mandating vaccines. And you know who's in line behind them? Germany.
Good.
Germany is also in line to start mandating these vaccines. Now, when they make it a law to, which I think it's happening now, when they make it a law in Austria that everybody in the public must be vaccinated, there are a lot of people in Europe, because Europe, I don't remember exactly what the number is, but there's a lot of people in Europe that will not get vaccinated. They refuse to get vaccinated because of misinformation and things they've seen, and blah, blah. They're going to stick a tracking device in my arm and whatever. So there's a lot of stuff like that going on, and a lot of people won't get vaccinated. Now, if they start making it the law to get vaccinated, what is going to be the backlash? So what she said, is it going to get more dangerous? The pandemic, because right now the numbers in the pandemic in Europe are going like this. I mean, it's just like this. It's like a salmon. Is it salmon? Salmon swimming upstream. So the numbers of cases that are coming up in Europe is going higher and higher and higher. And so that's why some countries are just giving up and saying, okay, listen, we're going to mandate it. By law, you have to get a vaccine.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, because if you cannot convince people, you cannot. But then if there's a law, if that becomes a mandate, then everybody will follow. Like just like the Philippines.
I mean, in the Philippines, here's what I think. I think in the Philippines, if you had a mandate, a lot of people get scared, a lot of people would hide. But if you do that in Europe, if you force people to get mandate, there are going to be people coming out in droves with their signs. You can't make me do this. I'm going to protest this. I can't even imagine what's going to happen. And I can already predict that we're going to see this. We're going to see all these protests in Europe in the next couple of weeks as they start implementing these mandates.
Okay, what about in U.S.? There's some mandate that they're trying to do now.
If they did a mandate in the United States, there would be a civil war.
My God.
I'm telling you right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Because in the United States, I think only 60% of people are vaccinated. And so you think, well, 60%, that's not so bad. Think of how many people are in the United States.
Over 300 million?
330 million people.
Oh,
so 40% of 330 million people is a lot of people. We'll get to this, but if you think about this, now, this is my analogy on it. If you want to kill yourself, is it illegal to kill yourself? In some places it is, but, if you want to kill yourself, okay, fine, kill yourself. You want to kill yourself with a bomb? Okay, kill yourself with a bomb. But should you be able to kill yourself with a bomb that will blow up 3 city blocks and kill other people? And I think this is part of what Austria's thinking is. It's like, okay, you want to you want to die? Okay, that's fine. But you can't take people with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're saying, listen, if you can't get your vaccine, get out of the country or you're going to jail. Boom.
Okay. That's
my bomb.
Yeah, let's wait and see what happened. Anyway, let's go now to Mileto Pasig. This kind of lighter question. Who is the armed intruder arrested in Windsor Castle in Christmas? Who is this guy? Why did he?
Oh my goodness, it's such a great story. I love our listeners. They come up with these interesting stories. This is a very fascinating story. It's like a Netflix movie. It's like one of those Netflix period historical dramas, like docudramas. Because this guy, like right out of the 1300s, because this guy, he's a 19-year-old guy, he used a rope ladder to scale the wall at Windsor Castle. And he got over the wall, and he had a crossbow. And he got in, and he was running over, and they, unfortunately, he had all the stuff that you have in the 12th century to jump the wall of the British castle and go after the nobles. But, we have CCTV cameras now. So the CCTV cameras caught him, and they arrested him. But the issue, the thing was, because people go, well, why was he in there? He never got close to the Queen. But it was just kind of interesting that this guy dressed in this mask and everything with a crossbow got in. He's running across the yard, and they got him. But it turns out that he had a Snapchat that said, with his mask on and everything and his crossbow, saying that he was going to assassinate the Queen because he's mad about this thing that happened in 1919. The Armored Safety Massacre, where the British soldiers killed all those people, those unarmed demonstrators that gathered at the Sikh holy city. So this is what he's mad at. So he wants to kill the Queen with his crossbow, which is, what was that show that was on recently where the son killed the father who was sitting on the toilet with the crossbow? Anyway, so he wants to kill the Queen with the crossbow because of what she did in 1919, which it wasn't her. It was another British royal that did that. But anyway, so he's still, I guess you could say, pissed off about something that happened at the turn of the century.
Oh my goodness. How old is the guy?
19 years old.
19 years old? Okay.
So,
I
can
think,
you imagine? I can imagine what this guy is like. So he sits at home, plays video games till 3 a.m.
Yeah, and
and
then
he's mad.
he got that story, and now he got it in him. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this.
Anybody that would break into Windsor Castle with a crossbow,
Yeah.
thinking he's going to kill the Queen.
Do you think you can do it?
You think you can kill the Queen? All right.
Oh my goodness, I'll go with you.
What is she, like 150 years old now? I don't know how old the Queen is. She's old.
She's
been
dead.
around, but she looks good.
Okay.
By the way, let me just, this is completely off subject now. Betty White died yesterday.
Who?
Betty White.
Oh yeah, but yes, 99 years old.
One of my favorite actresses, speak about old women.
Yeah.
One of my favorite actresses ever passed away last night. So,
Yeah.
and it's okay for me because she was 99 years old.
Yeah, 99. I mean, well, I don't know. My grandfather died at about 105, so.
Wow, jeez.
That was
Boy,
1972.
I'd be happy to get to 65.
I know. Anyway, let's go now to Nick of Pasig. All right. This is the local one. Philip Elio Wico declared persona non grata for alleged harassment and abuse against Tokyo Olympic pole vaulter EJ Obiena. What can you say about it?
All right.
You know this guy, right?
Yes, I do. I don't want to get into too much because I know these people. But this is a story of why does the Philippines suffer so much in sports, and why are officials of the POC and the National Sports Associations given so much power in the Philippines over athletes, and why is the Philippines constantly on the verge of being kicked out of world sports organizations? Every time I turn on the news, the world sports organizations are, banning the Philippines from something, and it's not because of the athletes. It's because of something that we're doing, some kind of corruption in sports or whatever. And so, I don't want to go on and on about this. I mean, how some of these guys get elected, and I have to say, some of these guys that get elected, they were in sports when I got here. And then they got kicked out of their sport, and then they show up in another sport. And then years later, they're back in the same sport. So, I mean, did this guy, Wico, wasn't he head of the PSL, the volleyball thing? He's head of athletics, but he was also head of the PSL, which used to be headed by Suzara until he got sued, and then he got kicked out of the PSL, and then he became the head of volleyball, and now volleyball is embattled now because they didn't allow the best player in the history of the Philippines to be on the national team. I mean, the stories go on and on and on. So, but let me just say, I mean, in this particular case, the problem here centers around 85,000 euros. They gave that athlete, EJ, which, by the way, what is he, third in the world in pole vaulting? He's one of the best pole vaulters in the world, not in the Philippines, in the entire world. I mean, so he's got a little bit of power. I mean, this is the same thing that happened with weightlifting. I mean, before that, poor girl had so many problems, and then she won an Olympic gold medal, and now, okay, her problems are all disappeared, kind of. Everybody's, but this is the same thing with this guy. So they gave him all this money, and then somebody told that guy, that the president there of athletics, oh, well, why don't you give him some money so he can pay his coach? And he goes, well, we did give him some money. So he wrote a letter to the guy and said, you got to give the money back if you didn't pay the coach. And he says, what do you mean? I paid the coach. And then it turns out that he didn't pay the coach until later. So he had turned in his paper. You know, it's kind of a little flimsy thing on both sides. I can't say that EJ is all, but first thing, why was EJ even doing this in the first place? Why did they give him the money to pay the coach? I was the coach for in volleyball for years and years. I never got paid by an athlete. If you gave money to one of the volleyball players that I coach, they would steal it in a second. I know them all. I love them all. I love them all. But they would, you know. But he gave it to the coach. I mean, the coach was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. We're all good. We're all good. I got all the money." And so the issue right now is who said what about who? Whose ego and pride is whatever. And so the POC went in and said, because believe me, if EJ was not third in the world, he would be kicked out faster than anything. Because that's what I mean, look at the marathoner, marathoner before, who went and qualified for the Olympics. And then this same guy tried to get her kicked out of the Olympics because she didn't do it through him. This is the kind of stuff that goes on here. And so it makes me crazy. So, you know, the POC said, okay, listen, you're no longer the president because this guy's a world-class pole vaulter. You know, we were talking about before that maybe he should join, he should, you know, get citizenship in another country, which is being floated. That idea was being floated. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen to the Philippines. They finally get a world-class athlete in athletics, and now what? You're going to let him go on something like this? I have to say this, as stupid as this, where, I mean, all it is just ego.
Yeah, it's more an ego, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it totally is. And so I look at this thing and I go, you guys can't get this together and just help this poor kid. I mean, he's just a young guy.
Yeah.
And why should this guy be having to fill out the salaries for his coach anyway?
I can't believe it.
I mean, I'm just, EJ, don't leave the Philippines.
Yeah.
We need you here.
Yeah. All right,
He's
EJ.
a good guy. I mean, I've listened to him talk, and what he realizes is the problem that we have in this country, which you don't have in other countries, is the athletes don't have any say. Until you get famous, until everybody loves you, until, Elisa Valdez, the greatest volleyball player I have ever seen here. And she has a little bit of power now. And, and the same way with that weightlifter, and the same way with EJ. And I think they need to step up and use it and try to bring down these officials. I mean, I could continue going on about, who went to the Olympics, 7 athletes and 40-some officials. Anyway.
Okay, EJ, just stay put.
Stay put, EJ. Keep jumping over poles.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Jeanette of Makati. Okay. Interesting. What can you say about the lady who escaped quarantine and party in Poblacion Makati and went viral because she even bragged that she has a connection? She came from the US and found positive, of course, the virus. That's it. What is your warning to this kind of people, Mr. Lecain? I have my warning.
We are on an island. The Philippines is an island. There's no way you can drive to the Philippines. So how is the virus getting to the Philippines? On an airplane from people like this person. And the fact that she was able, now how did she get out of quarantine? Because she's got connections and she's rich and she's like bragging about it. And she gets out. And what did she do? I had it all written down here. Like on the 22nd, she got in. On 23rd, her friends came to pick her up. And then she went, had a Christmas party and had a great blast. And then on the 27th, she tested positive for COVID. And now 15 other people from the same party are now testing positive for COVID. And so this is the kind of thing that has brought the Philippines to its knees. Because like I keep saying, we're an island. How did the virus get on this island? It got on because somebody got off the plane and gave it to somebody.
Right. And then, this is one thing that's why when I read about this we talk about this in our parties. I mean, I was so upset, and even up to now, every time we talk about it, I said, okay, why somebody like her will even brag that she has a connection? That's why she was able to escape the quarantine. Which you, Eric Lecain, you had your quarantine last year, right? For how many days?
Okay, so we have 14-day quarantine, but you have to stay in the hotel for 10 days, and you have to do 4 days of in your place. I was scared to death to come out of the quarantine because they told us if we came out that we'd have to start it all over again.
Yes.
So I stayed in my room and I didn't go out, and I got my food off the little tray outside the thing. I was scared to death to come out. Now, I mean, I guess I'm not Filipino, so I was so worried that they were going to send me back to my country. But, you look at the problems that the Philippines has, I think, why would you, even if you're sure that you don't have it, I mean, just to take the chance of spreading a virus, especially because if you don't know, because obviously she's the one, because she got it 4 days after, same way I did. I took a flight, I got it on the flight, on the plane. I 4 days later, I'm not in the Philippines, but when I was in the United States, I had COVID from after I got off an airplane. 4 days later, exactly what happened to her. So she gets off the plane, but she goes to a party and has pictures, and then goes to a restaurant and goes to and just who knows how many people she spread it to.
Yeah,
especially if you have Omicron.
Yeah.
It's turned out to be like incredibly easy to spread.
Wow. I mean, this is one thing. And that's why you've seen a lot of, posts in the, social media and everywhere now. And, that's why they call her Poblacion Girl. She's a young, beautiful lady.
Yeah.
And,
got good connections.
Yeah, she got her connection. And you know what? Don't say that. And then if I have to add this, Eric, because I heard this, and I think the authorities should look at this. I was even told that, because there's an American who wants to come to the Philippines sometimes in October, and they said that, they have a connection that you can bring that person here, put him, and I said, well, he has to go to quarantine for 14. And they said, we have a connection that, they can just, put a dummy in a hotel as if it's there something. No, don't ever do that, that's why I'd never talk about it because, I don't think they did it. But that with the issue of this girl, I was so upset when I heard this kind of story because I had, some friends who came back, like my friend Dr. Perez. She came from U.S. also last, I think, when was that? October. She had a quarantine for how many days? 7 days. I have tests who came back from the U.S. Quarantine, all of them had their quarantine. And why? This girl, because this is the only one in the news right now, why she was able to get away with this one, although I know they're going to do something, they're investigating this.
Yeah, but
but
it's only 50,000 peso fine. I mean, I'm sure she's got 50,000 pesos. But I have to say, because we've said this on the show before, how did this virus get into the country? And it got in because of quarantine protocols.
Yeah.
And I know that she's not the only one. Obviously,
sure.
she's not the only one, and I know for a fact that, and I don't want to say this, but there's Chinese people who have a lot of money, and they're able to come in and go in these hotels and then leave. And I happen to know some of them. But anyway, that's beside the point. But I think that this is the reason why. I mean, we knew the cases were going to go up.
Yeah,
and
it's going up already.
And the fact that already they have traced 15 cases to this one person.
And one person, how many if it is Omicron, how many times can you, how many people?
How many people did those 15 people see?
That's why a lot of people are so mad about this lady.
Because the Philippines has been pretty good at keeping Omicron out.
Yeah.
And now it may be coming in because of stuff like this.
Yeah. Guys, be careful if you have relatives, even though you have money or whatever. I don't care. Just be, look at us, like even our DOD secretary says, okay, we already suffered a lot in terms of lockdown. We did everything we can. The government did everything we can just to control this. Look at our case, 51,000 deaths, in about almost 2 years. In other countries, 51,000 is like 1 day, right?
Yeah, I know.
We are blessed. We are, even though you don't like you don't like it, well, we are Filipinos, we are doing this, but with one lady like this, that made me really upset. All right.
We're mad at you, population lady.
Okay. All right, let's go. I don't want to get too emotional about this because, I don't want to get
Lalie
sick.
Tolentino.
All right. This is from June of Manila. All right. We are back to alert level 3 starting January 3, tomorrow, to 15. Smart move. Your thoughts, Mr. Lecain?
Well, the Philippines had 2,961 cases, new cases on December 31st. So that's sad to hear, but that is a fact. But Lalie Tolentino, we knew this would happen. We said this on the show, that during Christmas, the cases are going to go up. I didn't hope they wouldn't go up that much. So now we're back to level 3.
We already have like 4,000 cases reported today.
Yeah, I mean, so now we're back to 30%. What is it? 30% of places with people in with crowds in them, and there's no face-to-face classes and no contact sports. Venues with singing and wind instruments. So you can have a venue with Chinese erhu.
What's that?
But is that the?
Okay.
But no cockfighting. No cockfighting.
But they do it online.
Yeah, do it online. And you, in your household, supposedly, people are not supposed to visit you unless you live in your household. And this is going to go on until January 15th. And it just makes me pull my hair out. The fact that all this work, and now we were talking about going to level 1, and now we're going backwards.
Yeah.
We're going back up the stairs.
Yeah, I mean.
So, level 3 again. Can this keep going on and on and on? How long are we going to have to keep doing this back and forth? So,
Okay, well, all right. Now, let's go to Pastor Ed of Pasig. Pastor Ed, here's your question. What is your fearless forecast when it comes to the COVID pandemic still being the biggest threat to the world this 2022?
I mean, China. Look at China, who said we squashed the virus right at the beginning, like 2 years ago. They did that massive, crazy thing that they did with everybody's wearing the suits and you had to stay inside or you get shot. And then they pretty much, they the one that gave us the COVID virus, but then they got rid of it faster than anybody. Now it's back in China. They're doing lockdowns again in China. What was the question? What's the biggest threat to the world in 2022? It's not North Korea's nuclear weapons, and it's not a meteor coming out of the sky. It's going to be COVID again. That's the main thing. So in the United States, yesterday or average this week in New York, 85,000 cases a day.
A day.
They had 355,990 cases in a day.
Oh my God.
2.5 million cases in a week. So yes, right now in the United States, look at the little chart. Go on the internet, look at the chart. It's like this, and then it goes, during the Christmas time. So, a lot of places in the United States, a lot of states calling in the National Guard. We're 2 years into this, and we're calling the National Guard. And children, there's a record number. Now it's always record number. There's a record number of child hospitalizations.
Wow.
In the United States, and people are still arguing about the mask. Oh, we don't want to wear the mask.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's if you're looking at what is the biggest threat for 2022, it's starting right today. The fact that the Philippines is saying, hey, you know what? We're going to have to go back to alert level 3, and we're going to have to start doing this, and they're going to do this. And what happens if all of a sudden the Philippines, if Omicron gets in it like it's in the United States? Because United States, it's like a wave. It's like a wave blowing across the United States because it is so easy. Now, it's not as dangerous, or it's the same level of dangerous. I'm not exactly sure how they figured all that stuff out. But it definitely is true that it is more transmissible than the Delta virus. So that's why it's so easy to spread. And so the United States is just getting jammed right now. And I'm so worried that this is going to happen to the Philippines, and then we're going to go right back to where we were in 2020.
Oh my God! We were so happy early last December, because the cases are going down, blah blah blah, and now it's like starting. Oh my God, it's going up, and now today is 4,000 plus. I said, oh my Lord.
I don't know. I don't think I would mind North Korea having a nuclear weapon. Now, I don't know which is worse. I think, okay, let them have the nuclear weapon. If we can get rid of COVID, okay, fine. I've had a trade, maybe the meteor, it's okay. It's a small meteor, it can hit the Earth. But, I just look at what is happening in the world and the way the populist mentality has changed the world. The way in the United States, how the people, especially in the last couple of years, have changed the fact that no matter what the government says, we're going to do the opposite. And this is what I think our biggest threat to 2022 is these populist organizations in Europe and in the United States and all around that are actually making this virus worse. They're coming around and, they're saying, all this stuff about don't take the vaccine, don't do this. And they say, well, okay, we got 60%. We got, but how many people in the Philippines have taken the vaccine?
As of today, I heard it's like there's about 48%, which is the fully vaccinated, I think.
48%, I cannot believe that would be the true number in the entire Philippines. But
it's more.
I would think it would be less. But anyway, who knows? But still, it's only half. Let's just say it's only half. And if we cannot get, now it is proven without a shadow of a doubt that the booster, if you look at the number of people that are in the hospital worldwide, the booster shot is stopping people from having to go to the hospital. If you have the booster shot and you get Omicron, it's like having a cold. But if you don't have any vaccine, you may end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
With one of those video cameras on you going, I should have taken the vaccine. Please don't make the mistake that I did.
Okay, that's why, again, I'm appealing to all the people in the Philippines. If the United States people don't want to believe the vaccine, well, I'm telling my co-Filipinos, get the vaccine if you don't have it. Like me, I finished my booster November 30th. I'm good. So, but I need to be careful still,
Yeah, you can still, like I said, you can still get the virus. Even if you've had the vaccine, you can get the virus, but you won't die. And that is a proven fact that 99% of the people that have died in the world since the vaccine came out are people who are unvaccinated.
Yeah, that's why don't be stubborn, don't be hard-headed Filipinos.
Yeah, one of the threats, the biggest threats we have in 2020 is people that don't believe in science.
Yes.
And now there's this kind of push to not believe in science. When did this start? Why are we doing this? And who is it that started, and let's find this guy and put him on one of those spaceships and send him out of the world because he's really causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, send that guy to the moon.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Lecain.
To the moon.
I have a very, very interesting question for you and me, maybe. This is from Edna of Makati. What are your New Year resolution and suggestion to your viewers for 2022? Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, right now in the Philippines is about to go through a big change. Forget okay, we've got a lot of issues that are coming up with the virus. There's a lot of issues that are going to come up with the economy. I know a lot of people are going to be rebuilding after the typhoon for a year. Look at Yolanda. It took 2 years to rebuild from that. So I'm sure, these are things that are coming up. But one of the big issues that's coming up is, the next president that you're going to vote for, and that is a big thing that I think a lot of Filipinos are going to have to start thinking about as we get into this year. I think there's no way that you can not think about it because it's going to be slapped in your face probably every single place you go. Something about the future of the Philippines. And we look at the last 6 years and how the future went in the last 6 years and how it's going to be in the next 6 years. And I think that is one of the things that particularly in this year of 2022, that a lot of people are going to need to think about. People need to, I was talking before about the populist situation in the world and that these things are changing. They're changing the way people think, and sometimes not always for the best. Like I said, science, all of a sudden we don't believe in science anymore. So all I can say is, for your resolution, I hope that people will start to use their head instead of their heart sometimes. Heart is good for falling in love. Head is good for making decisions on vaccine, making decisions on your elections, making decisions on what your kid's going to do. Use your head. And I think that is something that would be a good resolution.
Okay, well, that's something new, Eric. I mean, we normally line up some of our New Year resolution.
I mean, I need to stop drinking that sweetened iced tea. That's me personally. Get your personal resolutions. I was talking as a whole.
Yeah, well, for me, all I have to do, because of this situation that we have right now, I think all of us just have to, again, start by following the basic protocol that we have. Because me personally, I don't want to get sick, and if I get sick, I don't have money to go to the hospital, or maybe there's no place in the hospital. So this is one thing that we need to be careful in everything that we do now, and if we can help other people as well, do it. Start loving your family if you have your family, and then do the positive things, make people happy. People would love to be with you. I mean, so, because of the situation that we have right now, a lot of people are depressed. So if you can make fun, talking to them, and, I think they will be happy to be with you.
It's a good, easy time to hate people. It's so easy to hate people now. So that's one thing that we can do, is just try to not hate people as much as we do sometimes. And yeah. Everything, on that note, but I do like Lalie Tolentino. But on that note, we're going to have to say goodbye because we are running out of time here on the World News Jam. But Lalie Tolentino, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Eric.
And I am Eric Lecain here on the World News Jam on DZRJ and RJTV. We'll be back next week. So please join us then. Stay safe out there.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
8:10 a.m. Just type in DZRJ 8:10 a.m. on TuneIn Radio, Streama, and Radio Garden.